My dad handed my golden brother the company I quietly held together, so I walked away, and the brutal fallout that followed eventually forced them back to my door desperate for the one son they never valued. I, 32 male, was busting my back in the family business while he acted like I was just the hired help with the same last name. It finally hit a point where I had had enough, so I made a move that ended up flipping everything upside down. And let's just say they did not see it coming. My old man owns a blue-collar business, not glamorous, but it pays well enough that he can act like he is some kind of business messiah in our small town. He always says he built it from nothing every time someone compliments the shop, like he did not have me busting my back while he sat in the office pretending to understand spreadsheets. Here is the kicker. My older brother is the second coming of Christ in his eyes. He got a business degree from a mid-tier college and suddenly he is the chosen one. I am not exaggerating, the guy got a C in econ once and my dad still framed the exam like it was a Medal of Honor. Meanwhile, I have been in the field since I was 17 doing the actual work, grinding, fixing, troubleshooting messes other guys walked away from. And you know what I got? Thanks, sport, no stake, no say, just a pat on the head and back to the grind. Dad had been grooming my brother to take over since day one. It was not even subtle. I was literally in the room when he told me, and I quote, "You'll never run this place. You're better with tools, not decisions." Dead serious, like I am a caveman with a hammer, and he is the only guy with enough brain cells to check email. It did not even sting at that point, I just stared at him like, wow, at least pretend to respect me. I asked if there was any room for me in the business once he retires, something, a percentage, a piece. I did not even ask for half, just something to show I mattered. He gave me this smug little nod and said, "You'll get something after I'm gone," basically telling me to wait for him, to die, and maybe he will leave me a few scraps in the will. My brother sat there in the meeting with his arms crossed, smirking like he had just won the lottery. He did not say a word, did not even pretend to back me up. Of course not. He is the golden child, has been since birth. He got the bigger bedroom with his own TV, the newer bike every 2 years like clockwork, fewer chores, lighter punishments, you name it. Dude could sneeze and get praised for spreading innovation. I remember one time he accidentally left the garage open overnight and raccoons got into everything. My dad blamed me for not checking it behind him. Another time he crashed Dad's pickup truck into a tree in the driveway and somehow I got yelled at for not warning him about the road being slippery. That kind of golden. Meanwhile, I was labeled the impulsive one because I dropped out of college for a year. Not to party or mess around. I got a solid job fixing HVAC systems and actually learned real skills. The best hands-on experience I have ever had. But to my dad, that move was like committing treason, one gap year and I am a wild card for life. Every conversation after that came with some passive-aggressive comment about finishing what you start or sticking to the plan. Meanwhile, my brother got caught straight-up plagiarizing an entire essay in college, copy-pasted from some online archive, and my dad spun it into entrepreneurial thinking because he is resourceful under pressure. I swear if he burned the house down, my dad would have said it was an experiment in fire safety. I was not the kid who rebelled. I was the kid who got ignored unless something broke, and then suddenly I was the only one who knew how to fix it. My brother got celebrated for showing up. I had to bleed just to get a good job once a year. That meeting was just the latest slap in the face. My dad laid out his grand succession plan, complete with a new title and shiny office for my brother. I asked, barely asked, if there was a place for me in that plan. Not even half the business, just a little piece, a stake, something to show I was not just a glorified wrench monkey. And what did I get? You'll get something after I'm gone. So yeah, after that little heart-to-heart about how I was basically a glorified temp worker in my own family's company, I hit my limit. I went home, sat in my car for like half an hour just staring at the dash thinking about how stupid I was for giving this place so many years. I had carried that shop through all kinds of crap. Deadlines, broken machines, lazy hires, you name it. I was the guy they called when stuff hit the fan, and all I had gotten back was attitude and second-place treatment. The next morning, I typed up a 2 weeks notice. No drama, no rant, just a clean "I'm done." I handed it to my dad during lunch like I was dropping off his dry cleaning. He glanced at it and said, "Is this about what I said yesterday?" I said, "Nah, just time to move on," and he hit me with, "All right, good luck, but you won't last without me and your brother." I actually smiled. He really believed that. Like I was going to crash and burn the second I did not have him micromanaging my every move or my brother messing things up beside me. No. Are you sure? Let's talk this through. Just a weird little ego trip and right back to chewing his sandwich. That told me everything I needed to know. I was never meant to be anything more than the backup wrench in the drawer, pulled out when things got messy, ignored the rest of the time. I still showed up for work like normal, even though every second felt like a joke. My brother barely said 2 words to me all week, acted like I was invisible. I think he figured I would come crawling back or something. Then a few days later, Jared, the guy who represents our biggest client, comes by asking if I can handle a project next week. I tell him, can't, I won't be here. He gives me this confused look and goes, wait, what? So I explain I am leaving, no details, just say it is personal because I do not want to sound bitter, even though I was ready to scream into a pillow every night. He looks stunned and says, you're the only guy we ask for, which, yeah, I knew that. They always requested me, not my brother, not the guy with the degree, me, because I actually got stuff done. He asked if I had another job lined up. I told him no, not yet, and it was true. I figured I would freelance for a bit or just take a breather. Not a lot of companies need someone with my skill set, but I was willing to figure it out. And that should have been the end of it, me quietly bowing out, finding something else, moving on. But turns out someone else had bigger plans for me. The morning after, I walk into the shop and my dad is sitting at his desk like nothing happened. Does not even look up. I say good morning and he goes, you're still coming in on time even after quitting? That's new. Yeah, real classy. The dude acts like I used to roll in 3 hours late when I have been the one unlocking the damn place half the time because he could not get out of bed before 9. And yeah, I was still showing up, not for him, not for the paycheck, just because I wanted to walk out the right way, no loose ends, no he left us hanging stories. I was not going to give them the satisfaction of saying I ghosted or bailed. I had already mentally pieced out. I was just tying up the last few knots before I left the mess behind. So I head to the floor and guess what? Half the morning crew is standing around because the delivery truck did not get loaded last night. My brother was supposed to handle it since I am stepping back, and he did not. Now the order is late and the client is already pissed. So who ends up jumping in to fix it? Yep, me again. And while I am hauling pallets to save their reputation from collapsing faster than Dad's hairline, guess who walks in holding a cold brew and acting like a manager? My brother says, let's make sure this doesn't happen again, in that smug I watched a TED Talk tone he uses when he is trying to sound like a leader. No sorry, no thanks for covering. Just that. I stare at him and say, yeah, maybe try loading it next time instead of delegating to the void. He blinks, does not respond, just turns around and walks off to review numbers, which I am 100% sure means scrolling LinkedIn and pretending he is networking. Then, around lunch, my dad finally calls me into his office. Big man wants to chat. I sit down, arms crossed, already bracing for a guilt trip. He opens with, so, I thought about your decision to leave, and I'm willing to raise your pay. I raise an eyebrow. Oh yeah, what's the offer? $1.50 more an hour, he says, dead serious, leaning back like he just offered me stock in Tesla.
I actually laughed. I could not help it.
That is what you think I am worth after all these years, he frowns like I just insulted him. It's a good rate. Most people your age aren't making that kind of money. Brother, I am not most people. I am the one your biggest client specifically asks for, the one who trained half your staff, the one who made you look like a genius while you sat in your office watching old car restoration videos and pretending to do payroll. I did not say all that, obviously. I just stood up, said I'll pass, and walked out. Next day, chaos. Jared shows up around 10 a.m., already looking annoyed. I guess he was told the install was on track, except it was not. Golden Boy gave him a fake update because he did not want to admit he forgot to order the mounting hardware, real pro stuff. Jared spots me across the floor and beelines over, hey, can you explain why nothing's ready for the Vantry job? I blink. You'll have to ask the new manager. I'm just a spectator now. He looks at me, then looks over at my brother trying to Google industrial mount brackets on his phone like nobody is watching. So you're really leaving? Jared asks quieter. Yeah, Friday's my last day. He nods slowly. Where to? I shake my head. No clue. Might take a break. That man paused like he just found out his dentist was quitting mid-root canal. You're the only reason. We kept the contract this long, just saying. That felt good, not even going to lie. And that is when the twist came. Jared's boss, a guy I had never met before, real serious, clean suit, clipboard, the whole vibe, spends 10 minutes watching the floor, checking equipment, then pulls me aside. Mind if I ask you a question? You ever think about running your own crew? I blink, thinking freelance, but he says, no, I mean, full-time in-house. We've been thinking of internalizing this operation, but we've had trouble finding someone who knows the work and can manage people. You come highly recommended. I just stood there, jaw probably on the floor. I had not even looked for a job, and this guy is offering me one on the spot. He tells me to think about it. Gives me a rough figure. Spoiler, it is more than I have ever made in my life. Plus office, benefits, equipment, budget, the works. I did not say yes, not yet. I still had 2 more days on the clock, and I was not going to give my dad the satisfaction of saying I quit early. But oh man, my brain was already packing mental boxes. That afternoon, my dad walks by the loading area and sees me talking to Jared and his boss. He does not ask what is up, does not even pause, just gives me a look like I am wasting company time chatting. I should have told him that guy is offering me a real future while you are still handing out nickels and calling it a raise. But nah, I just smiled and let him stay ignorant. That night I got home, cracked open a soda, and stared at my phone for like an hour. I did not even open apps, just sat there thinking. They do not know it yet, but they are about to feel what it is like when the spare son walks away, and this time I am not coming back. Friday rolled around, my official last day. I came in early, not because I wanted to impress anyone, but because I had one last thing to finish. The pantry order was still a mess, and I was the only person who even knew where half the supplies were. I could have let it crash and burn, but I had one rule: if my name is attached, it does not go out half done. I finished clean so nobody gets to say I was the problem. Of course, my dad did not say a word. Not even a thanks, not a handshake, not even a fake good luck. He just walked past me in the morning like I was air and told the receptionist to get coffee for the team, which apparently did not include me anymore. My brother spent the entire day fumbling through a phone call with another client, pretending he knew what they were talking about. I overheard him telling them the install time would probably be standard. What does that even mean? Standard like last month's job that took 3 days longer because he forgot to measure the bracket space, or standard like he makes up numbers and hopes no one notices? Around noon, Jared came by, this time with his boss again. No clipboard today, just a folder and a smile. Got a minute? I wiped my hands on a towel, nodded, and followed him out to the lot. His boss handed me the offer in writing. 3-year contract, salary that almost made me laugh out loud, bonus structure, benefits, my own budget, an office with a mini fridge, even a line for me to approve hiring 2 techs under me. I did not hesitate. I signed right there on the hood of my truck. Not a single pause, not a single "but what about my family?" Or "is this fair to my dad?" They had made it crystal clear I was disposable to them, so now they get to see what happens when the extra walks away with the client that kept their business floating. And do not get it twisted. I did not steal anyone. Jared came to me. They needed someone who knew what they were doing, and I just happened to be the only one who fit that bill. I walked back inside with my signed copy still in hand, did not hide it, did not flaunt it either, just put it in my locker with the rest of my stuff. Then I did the pettiest thing I have ever done, and I do not even feel bad about it. I went to the break room, cleared out my locker, took my tools, my coffee mug, my gloves, everything, but I left the plaque they gave me 5 years ago that said Employee of the Quarter sitting right on top of my brother's desk. He never earned one, ever. I just thought it would look good there now that he is in charge. Right before I walked out, my dad finally comes over. No greeting, just that annoyed, tight-jawed look he does when he realizes he cannot fix something with fake authority. "So you're really doing this?" he says, arms crossed. I blink at him. Doing what exactly? "You know what I mean. Leaving, taking the client." I smiled. "I didn't take anything. They offered." "You said I wasn't leadership material. They disagreed." He opened his mouth to say something, but I cut him off. "You made your choice, Dad. You wanted one son to run the place and one to follow orders. Looks like the follower got promoted elsewhere." And then I walked out. I did not wait for a response, did not care. By Monday, I was in my new workspace, air conditioning, my name on a door, brand new tools, assigned parking. The 2 guys I hired actually showed up on time and asked me for instructions without rolling their eyes or acting like they knew better. It was weird being respected. Jared came in midweek just to check in, shook my hand and said, "Glad we got you." I just nodded and said, "You got the best part of that deal, trust me." Meanwhile, I started hearing little things through the grapevine. One of the guys from the old shop texted me, "Yo, they're scrambling now, can't even get the wiring right without you." Another one messaged, "Your brother told a client we could wing it on a 5-figure installation, and my dad tried to call Jared's boss to clear the air, apparently blamed me for stirring the pot." The guy hung up on him halfway through the call. They are flailing, and I am over here with my feet up reviewing equipment orders like I am running the place, because now I am. Revenge did not need yelling or lawsuits or drama. I just walked out, took the piece they never valued, and made it the one thing they could not replace. Less than a week into my new gig, I get a random LinkedIn message from Randy, one of the techs at my dad's place. His message just says, "Bro, you would not believe what's happening over here." I reply, "Try me." 10 minutes later, he sends a wall of texts. 2 more clients pulled out, not because of me, but because Golden Boy forgot to send a follow-up quote to one and completely misread the specs for another job. They showed up with the wrong equipment, and the client literally threw them off the lot. Oh, and that late shipment from last week, the Vantry one I bailed them out on before I left, they delivered it without the bracket mounts because my brother assumed the client would already have those installed. Brother, it is your company's job to install them. That is the whole deal. They had to comp the job, lost money, and that triggered one of their backup clients to start looking elsewhere just in case. The best part, my dad tried to act like I sabotaged something. Told the crew someone must have tampered with the order files before leaving. Real detective work, Sherlock. Nope, I did not touch a thing. Your Golden Boy just does not know how to click a checklist. Meanwhile, at my new job, Heaven, I am not even exaggerating. My office chair leans back, the AC works, the coffee is free and does not taste like burnt tires. I have 2 guys under me, Sam and Hector, who actually listen, and one of them used to work at a competitor firm. We are flying through our first project so fast the client bumped our deadline up, not back. They were that impressed. So while I am out here racking up wins, my dad's business is bleeding out. And then the wildest thing happened. On Friday, I get a call from a number I do not recognize. Normally, I do not answer unknowns, but I was between tasks and feeling spicy. It is my uncle, Dad's older brother, the one who co-signed the business loan years ago when they expanded. He is calm, but I can tell something is off. He goes, "Hey, I heard what happened with you leaving. Just wanted to say, good move." I blink. "Wait, what?" He says, "Your dad never gave you credit for anything. It was obvious to all of us." This is the first time anyone in the family has ever said that out loud. He tells me he got looped into a meeting earlier that week where my dad basically tried to beg for help, financial help. They are down 3 clients and cash flow is disrupted. In normal human speak, they are broke. Uncle said he told them flat out, "This is what happens when you build an entire operation around one kid and ignore the one doing the work." Mic drop. He even asked if I needed any help setting up additional services on my side, like maybe opening a secondary location down the line. Total 180. Guy was ready to back me now. I thanked him and told him I was good for now, but yeah, that call stuck with me. That Monday, I get another message, this time from Lena, the front desk girl from my dad's company. She is quitting and wants to know if I am hiring. Apparently my brother tried to shift blame for one of the client losses onto her. She found out he told the client she forgot to confirm the delivery when he is the one who deleted the email thread by accident. He even tried to offer her a write-up to make it go away, so now they are down another employee. And then came the plot twist of all plot twists. I get a text from Jared with a screenshot. It is an email from my dad to Jared's boss accusing me of poaching the client, saying I used inside access to manipulate client relationships and demanding compensation for loss of revenue due to employee misconduct. I nearly dropped my phone laughing. First off, I did not poach Jack, they came to me. Second, nothing was underhanded unless being better at your job than your replacement is a crime now. I called Jared immediately. He picks up laughing. "Dude, don't worry, my boss read that, shook his head and flagged it, you're solid." I said, "Did he actually write that with a straight face?" Apparently he even CC'd my brother, like that made it more legit. Then Jared hit me with the kicker. My boss replied with one sentence, "We do not negotiate with incompetence. I am not making that up. It was glorious." By Wednesday, Randy tells me they have officially started layoffs. Quiet ones trying not to trigger panic. First 2 guys gone were from the install team. One of them the guy who trained my brother. The irony is poetic. I should feel something, right? Sadness, maybe guilt? Nope, not a drop. They made me feel small, invisible, replaceable. Now they are the ones getting replaced, and I've not even broken a sweat. It did not stop there. The news kept raining down, and it did not trickle. It dropped like a damn safe. I was working through a supply order when Jared knocks on my office door with his phone in his hand, half grin like he just read something juicy. "You're going to want to see this," he says and hands me his phone. It is a forwarded email chain between a local subcontractor and a few clients that used to work with my dad's company. The subcontractor CC'd my dad and brother, and now their firm is getting reported for fraud. Apparently my genius brother had been sending out updated invoices with adjusted rates, only they were not approved rates. He marked up some jobs by 20 to 30% and padded the hours to make up for losses after I left, but he never told the clients, never got signatures, nothing. And guess what? One of those clients was a city municipality job, a government contract. Yeah, real smart. Later that afternoon, I get a call from Adam, the new front desk guy from back at the shop. He sounds freaked out. He tells me the IRS showed up that morning. Full-on visit, badges, documents, questions they wanted to speak to my dad about inconsistent financial reporting. Apparently, my dad had been doing more than just mismanaging money. He was funneling payments between shell accounts, some under my mom's name, she passed away 6 years ago, by the way, and delaying payroll taxes so long it triggered a full-blown audit. And my brother, according to Adam, tried to play it cool, said, "Oh, this is probably just a routine check." Yeah, routine IRS visits come with 2 agents, a lawyer, and a clipboard thick enough to kill a raccoon. Adam said he quit on the spot, did not even log out of his email, just grabbed his stuff and walked out while my dad was mid-sentence. And here is the twist that really iced the cake. They tried to pin it on me. Yep, apparently my dad told the IRS I was the one who set up the secondary vendor accounts, which is insane because I never even had access to that side of the books. I was on the floor doing real work, not clicking around QuickBooks like a shady accountant with a Red Bull addiction. I got a heads up from a mutual connection, a guy who used to do security installations with us. He overheard my dad ranting that I was sabotaging the company and leaked information to competitors. This man, the same one who told me I was just the muscle, now suddenly I am a criminal mastermind. That night, I got a call from Jared's boss. He assured me their legal team already shut down any whispers about me being involved. "They're throwing darts blindfolded," he said. "You're fine. They're desperate." Damn right they are. By the end of that week, 3 more former clients had filed formal complaints against my dad's company, and my brother tried to give a statement on behalf of the company. I found the clip on Facebook. 35 seconds of him stuttering through corporate buzzwords while dodging every actual question. One lady in the comments wrote, "Why does this dude blink like he's being held hostage?" I laughed so hard I almost fell off the couch. And me? I was eating takeout in a clean office with zero stress, while watching them burn the business down like they were speedrunning financial ruin. No pity, no guilt. They picked their favorite son, put him in charge, let him screw it all up, now they are paying the price, literally. And best believe I was not done watching, because the next thing was them coming to my office door. It started with a knock on the glass. I was going through supply chain estimates for the quarter, sipping on a coffee that did not taste like it was filtered through regret. I looked up, and there they were, my dad and my brother standing just outside the main doors of my building, wearing that weird mix of trying to look professional and barely holding it together. I did not move, just watched them through the glass like 2 stray dogs who wandered into a steakhouse. My brother looked fidgety, sweating even though it was barely 70 out. My dad had that fake calm face he uses whenever he is about to lie through his teeth. I took another sip, then got up, buzzed them in through reception, and leaned back in my chair like I was not about to watch a live episode of their downfall. They stepped in awkward, like middle school kids walking into the wrong classroom. "Nice place," my dad said, eyes scanning the room. I did not respond, just stared. Let the silence do the work. "We were hoping we could talk," he added, clearing his throat. I motioned to the chairs across from my desk. "Sit." They sat. It was quiet for a second, then my brother spoke first, of course. "Look, we know things got out of hand, mistakes were made, but we're trying to move forward. Clean slate." I almost laughed. "Mistakes?" I leaned forward. "You mean the fraud investigation, the fake invoices, the shell accounts, or the part where you tried to blame me for it?" My dad winced. My brother flinched. "All right," Dad said, holding up a hand. "I'll admit we were in a bad spot, but we thought we could manage it, and then things escalated faster than expected." I stared at him. This man who once told me to stay in my lane, who said I was not fit to lead, now sitting across from me, coat wrinkled, face pale, eyes begging. "You're not managing anything," I said. "Your company's under investigation, your accounts are frozen, your equipment's outdated, and every decent worker you had is either here or gone." Silence. "We're trying to avoid bankruptcy," my brother finally muttered. That is when I smiled, a slow, steady, not-so-nice smile. "Help how?" My dad straightened up like he had rehearsed this. "We're willing to offer you a share of the company, real, partnership, even controlling interest if you want." My jaw tightened, not because I was angry, but because I was holding back a laugh. "Let me get this straight," I said. "You're offering me control over a business that's weeks away from being shut down, that's being investigated for fraud, that's hemorrhaging clients, and now, after everything, you want to hand me the wheel and act like it's a gift?" My brother squirmed in his chair. "You're our only shot," he muttered. I let that hang for a second. "You remember what you said to me?" I asked my dad. He looked down. When I asked for a stake in the company a year ago, you said I'd get something after you died. I continued. So what's changed? You still alive, right? Don't be petty, my dad snapped, finally showing some fire. This is serious. I stood up slowly, walked to the window, looked out over the parking lot, the clean lines, the organized crew working below, my operation, my rules. You called me selfish, I said quietly. Told me I wasn't leadership material, gave the golden child the kingdom and told me to sweep the floors, treated me like a backup plan, and now that the plan failed, you come running to the guy you ignored. No one responded. I turned back to them. My dad's face was red now. My brother looked like he wanted to sink into the floor. You two made this mess, I said, and now you're asking the guy you discarded to fix it. You don't have to fix it, my brother said quickly. We just need help stabilizing, maybe a temporary contract or just referrals. I held up a hand. Stop. They both shut up. You came here hoping I'd save you, and I have the money, the resources, the network. I could throw you a line and maybe you'd stay afloat. Their eyes lit up for a second, but I continued. I won't. Their faces dropped like bricks. You don't deserve it, I said. You didn't just push me out, you tried to erase me. Then when everything fell apart, you blamed me like some bitter Hail Mary. Tried to destroy me, and now you want me to rebuild you? I stepped forward, hands in my pockets. You want a clean slate? Get in line, that's not how it works anymore. You burned that bridge with gasoline and danced on the ashes. My dad opened his mouth. I did not let him speak. I didn't build this place to throw lifelines to people who buried me. I walked back to my desk, sat down and stared them down. You can leave now. They sat there for a second, stunned, then stood up slowly. No fight, no argument, just shame. My brother looked at me one last time. You really won't help us? I stared right at him. I did help, by leaving, and with that they walked out. No handshake, no goodbye, just the soft click of the glass door closing behind them. I sat there for a while after, not thinking, not celebrating, just sitting. It was not about revenge, not really. It was about finally being in a place where I did not need them to acknowledge my worth because I built something without them. And that is what killed them most. The black sheep had become the wolf.